All right. Hey guys. Today's drawing is a picture of Skull riding in a mech that he had just found. He's found it in an abandoned warehouse, and it needs repairs. It needs fixed up, but at least the engine started, and it's going to be instrumental in him escaping this blockade that he's in. At least that's the backstory that I have for this image right now. I don't always start with the, like I've said in previous videos, I usually start with imagery first and then figure out the story. And I knew for this one today I just had to draw something technical and mechanical and cool looking. I've spent a large portion of the week working on cute stuff, and I've got to balance it out with this. So I find that I fluctuates. If I'm drawing way too many robots and skulls and things, I have to sit down and draw bunnies and stuff. And likewise, for vice versa, I have to do some cool stuff if I've been drawing cute things. I did a couple of Dr. Seuss related images for my kids' school for an auction that they're doing. Anyway, I'm using a different pen this time than I normally use. Normally I use the brush pen, the Pentel pocket brush, but this one I just wanted to try a different pen and kind of mix things up, and I like the line that this pen has, and I have no idea what kind of pen this is. The writing's all in Japanese, so I don't even know what to call it. I just ordered it from jetpens.com, so I actually ordered like 20 pens for them, and I've just been trying out different things, seeing what I like. And I like this pen. It's quick, dries pretty fast, and it gives you a nice, crisp, clean line. And so yeah, it's a good pen for inking. I think most of their pens are used for calligraphy, writing, but they work great for drawing as well. So you can check it out, jetpens.com. So drawing Skull, this is the first Skull I've drawn in about a week, a picture of him, or maybe 2 weeks, I don't know. I had to put the comic on hold because I just got so much freelance work that I couldn't say no to. And then I also went on a vacation to California with the kids, took the family there, went to Disneyland. It was good. Very much needed. Went to the beach, and so I had to do a bunch of work before then, and then some makeup work after then, and life has been very much work heavy, but now it seems like I have balance now, where I can actually have some evenings to myself. I don't have to be down in the studio. And I'm sure you guys are just loving to hear all of those personal details about my work schedule. Actually, last night I watched a documentary called Stripped. It's about the state of the comic strip industry, and I loved it. This is the second Kickstarter I ever backed, and it was a perfect movie. If you're going to make a documentary about comic strips, it has everything you'd ever want. Actually, they have an interview with Bill Watterson, which blew me away. I had no idea that you could even find the guy, because he's pretty reclusive, and so that was really cool. That was a treat. Everyone on there was just amazing. They had such beautiful insights on the medium, and it's funny because it reminded me of how much I loved comic strips growing up. Comic strips was my favorite medium, my medium of choice until I discovered comic books. And I collected comic strips. I cut them out of the newspaper. I have a stack of Calvin and Hobbes that I cut out of the newspaper and I saved because I couldn't wait until the books came out. I wanted to read them again and again. So all my favorite Sundays I cut out of the newspaper, and I would flip through them. And I remember before Calvin and Hobbes, I was a huge Garfield fan, and I would draw Garfield, and I actually remember drawing the Justice League in the style of Jim Davis with like the big eyes and the rubbery limbs and stuff, and that was that was really fun. And I remember thinking, oh, someday I want to be a comic strip artist, and that never happened because I got into comic books, and then after comic books, I got into animation. And watching this last night made me think how cool it would be to do a comic strip. I think the thing that really stuck with me was what Bill Watterson said. And he said in it that when you do a daily, I'm going to murder his quote, but by doing a daily strip, you actually build an emotional bond with the reader. And that's something that you can't do with other mediums. There's something about it coming out daily. It's small, it's short, but it becomes a part of their routine, a part of their day. And you're able to tell stories and convey ideas and thoughts that resonate a lot better than you would be able to in other mediums. And I don't know, I just thought that was kind of cool. There's a piece of me that was, I can't say I'm regretting my career path, but there's some longing for that imaginary career path that I could have had I pursued doing comic strips. I think my main problem with that was I don't know if I'm funny enough, and those things really lend themselves to humor. You got to be a really funny guy, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, it made me thinking though, like the last, some of these guys, they've worked on their strip for 15 years, 20 years. Mort Walker has been doing Beetle Bailey for 50 years or something like that. But there's something really appealing to me to say, look, I spent 15 years on one thing, on this, building this, building this this idea or this piece of artwork, this story. And I've been working as an artist for 15 years, but I've been working a lot on other people's projects, on animated films, on video games and things, freelance jobs. But I've tried to always do have my own project, have my own thing going. And I kind of wish that I had stuck to doing that a little bit more. That I could, instead of, I don't know. I guess there's two things. You could spend your time working on one thing, or you could spend your time making a bunch of different things. Like I kind of compare Doug TenNapel, right, who is a comic artist, and he's got 15 graphic novels. He basically does one graphic novel a year. You look at him, and he's got all of these different stories that he's told, different characters, different worlds, and that's really cool. But then you look at a guy like I'm trying to stay in the same world. So like look at Kazu, right? Kazu Kibuishi, right? He has been spending the majority of his time working on Amulet, and he's 6 volumes into it, and he's built this beautiful world with really cool characters, and it's all building up to this amazing climax, I'm sure, at some point. So I think that's kind of cool too. So you can't change the past, and I look at my past as basically transformative. It's taught me so much. I've learned so much. But now it's time for me to think about the future. And what do I want the next 15 years to be? Do I want to create 100 more little ideas? Do I want to spend my time drawing, a bunch of different characters doing different stuff? Do I want to do more short stories like I did for Antler Boy and Flight? Or do I want to pour it all into one or two projects? And I tell you, after watching that documentary last night, I want to do. Well, I talked myself out of doing a comic strip. I closed. I turned it off and I was like, "That's it. I'm doing a comic strip. I don't care. It's going to be something funny." And then I realized, you know what? It takes a certain personality. It's a certain kind of person to do the comic strip. And the stories I have in me, I don't know if they exactly fit that world. I have to think about it. I think I need to do more Missile Mouse because that character has been with me the longest. I created him in 1993 when I was in junior high, or was I in high school? I don't know. And I've done 2 graphic novels with them, and I've got tons of stories that I need to tell with them. And I think that's the character that needs some more love. And then obviously there's Skullchaser here, who I've got different stories. They're both in space, but they're different. They're different worlds. Missile Mouse is more like a Star Wars universe. Star Wars meets James Bond, and Skullchaser is more like a Western or a samurai thing. He's a drifter, kind of wandering from situation to situation. So here I am. I can't even decide. And then there's other things like Hugo Earhart. I've got a story for that. Ugh. I need 3 of me or something. I tell you what I really want is a colorist. It takes so much time to color these things. I just want to draw the pages and move on. If you are a colorist and you think you can match my coloring style, contact me because I'm interested in working with someone and forming some kind of partnership or something. That might help me get more stories out. That would be cool. Anyways, so Stripped, it's a good documentary. It got me inspired. It got me wanting to create and wanting to work on things, and I highly recommend you watching it. I think it comes out April 4th, and I got it because I backed the Kickstarter. Did I already say that? Anyways, I backed the Kickstarter, and they sent out the downloads yesterday. So I guess looking at this drawing again, man, I really went off on talking about comic strips and creating things. Actually, I want to say one more thing about that too. I guess there's nothing. I think you always need to have a project. You should always have a project. At least be creating something. I found an old folder from like 2001. I think artwork from 2001 to 2006. And it had a couple of comics projects, web comics that I had started and never finished. Because I've always had this idea that I want to do some sort of online web thing. And yeah, I didn't finish them, but the ideas are still there. I could still go back and do it. I think you always need to have a project, and you always need to be working on something. But I think at some point you need to figure out you got to stick with something. I think that's what's important for me to learn right now, is I got to stick with a thing. I think that's what I want to do, and I just need to choose what that thing's going to be. I should at least just go 1 year at a time. Why do I have to think in these big grand scheme things, right? Like, it doesn't have to be the next 15 years. I should just say, okay, for the next year I'm going to do this, and then go from there. I think that's what's going to happen. I'm going to think about something and then decide and just say this is going to be my thing for the next year or 2 years, and then go from there. Yeah. Anyway, I really like drawing this picture. It was good. It was a good balance. And I think it is. I think I'm done inking it. Just got to add a little texture here. It was good to draw this because I'd been drawing so much cute stuff lately, and I have to have balance there. I can't be drawing, really cool machinery all the time, and I can't be drawing Dr. Seuss characters all the time and cute bunnies and stuff. I have to go back and forth between things. All right. Thanks for hanging around if you've listened this much. And I will catch you guys next week. Two things I want to talk about, guys, just really quick here. First, thank you to everyone who's commented and subscribed. I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. If you like this video, you want to see more, click that subscribe button, and I'd really appreciate it. Second thing is, I don't know if you know this, but I teach online drawing classes through an organization called SVS. And this next week, I'm actually teaching a class on mastering perspective. It's a must-have for anyone who wants to be a professional artist at some point, or just needs a brush up on some of the fundamentals. I'm going to talk about 1-point, 2-point, 3-point perspective, and how to apply that knowledge to illustration, to design, to comics, to all that kind of stuff. So if you're interested, click on the link to the school down there in the info, and I hope to see you. Bye.